Imagine watching someone play a video game on easy mode, right? Like while everyone else on your team is just struggling on expert.
Oh, yeah. Completely relatable feeling.
Right. Well, that is essentially what happened on March 29th, 2026. One man stepped onto the pitch and he scored a breathtaking 90 runs off just 36 balls.
Wow.
Hitting 11 sixes, he basically turned a professional sport into his own personal driving range. Made it look so effortless, you'd think he was, playing a totally different game.
Yeah, he really did.
But here's the crazy part for you listening. His team still lost.
Which is just wild. I mean, it really is one of the most fascinating scorecards you will ever look at.
Oh, absolutely.
Because today, we are doing a deep dive into this massive clash between the Fierce Falcons and the Elite Lions at the Champions Arena.
Out in Greater Noida, right?
Exactly. So the Falcons, they put up a massive 187 for 9 in their 20 overs. And that was largely off the back of that one, just superhuman innings.
Yeah.
And then the Lions chased it down. They scored 188 for 3 in just 15.4 overs.
Which is, to hunt down a total like that in 15.4 overs, that's not just a win, that is a statement.
A huge statement, yeah.
So today, our mission for this deep dive is to extract the strategic nuggets from this match. Because the central theme here, the thing we are going to obsess over today, is this beautiful contrast.
Right, the two different styles.
Exactly. You have this monumental, heroic individual effort on one side, and then a perfectly orchestrated team synergy on the other. So whether you are, a diehard cricket fanatic or you just love dissecting team dynamics and leadership under fire, there are massive lessons to pull from these numbers today.
I totally agree. Because, a scorecard isn't just a list of numbers.
Right.
It's actually a narrative.
Yeah.
It tells this really detailed story of pressure, of human responses to that pressure, and, of leadership in real time.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's look at the actual mechanics of what Dheeraj Mishra did for the Falcons.
Let's do it.
Because looking at the commentary notes from our sources, the top of their batting order was just an absolute disaster zone.
Oh, complete collapse.
Yeah. Rizwan and Himanshu are gone almost immediately. They are sitting at 10 for 1, then 14 for 2. The foundation is essentially vaporized before the match has even really begun.
Right. And when a T20 inning starts like that, the standard playbook says, you consolidate.
You slow down.
Exactly. You play defensively for maybe 4 or 5 overs. You try to stop the bleeding, rebuild with singles, and just hope to accelerate later.
Makes sense.
But Mishra, the captain, he walks out and just completely shreds that playbook.
Throws it right out the window.
Literally. He takes absolute responsibility, striking at a staggering 250.00.
I am still trying to wrap my head around that specific number. 250.
It's absurd.
To score 2.5 runs every single time a ball comes to you is mind-boggling. But earlier you mentioned he acted as a protective shield for his team.
Yeah, he did.
How does a batter actually shield his teammates in a practical sense? Because, it's not like he can physically stand in front of them while they bat.
Well, he does it through strike manipulation and psychological cover.
Okay. Break that down for me.
So let's actually do the math on the rest of the team to see what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
If you subtract Mishra's 90 runs and the 27 extras the Lions bowled.
Which we will definitely talk about later.
Oh, absolutely. But if you take those out, the rest of the Fierce Falcons batting lineup managed only 70 runs off 84 balls.
Wow. Wait, really?
Yeah. That is a strike rate well under 100. They were completely struggling to just put bat to ball.
So they were totally stuck.
Right. So Mishra shielded them by farming the strike.
Meaning he kept himself in front of the bowlers.
Exactly. He was calculating his shots to intentionally take singles on the last ball of an over, which ensures he's the one facing the next over.
Ah, that is so smart.
Yeah, he took on the dangerous bowlers, absorbed all the risk, and basically communicated to his partners like, your only job is to survive. Just get me back on strike.
I love that. If you've ever been on a project at work where things were just falling apart, the instinct is to either panic or hide.
Oh, 100%.
What Dheeraj Mishra did here, it's the equivalent of taking the keyboard from a panicked coworker and saying, I've got this, just, go grab me a coffee.
That is a brilliant way to frame it, actually. And if you look at his 6th wicket partnership with Deepak Rawat.
Yeah, what happened there?
They put on 54 runs in 22 balls. But get this, Deepak only scored 9 of those runs.
Oh, wow, only 9.
Yeah. But the key is, he stayed out there. Manish Rawat did something really similar earlier on, scoring a sensible 30 off 25 balls.
Just playing the anchor role.
Right. And by hitting 11 sixes, Mishra actually altered the entire geometry of the field.
How so?
Well, when a captain is hitting over the top like that, repeatedly, it forces the opposing captain to push fielders way back to the boundary for protection.
Ah, to stop the bleeding.
Exactly. And that, in turn, makes it infinitely easier for his struggling teammates to just poke the ball into those newly opened gaps for simple pressure-free singles.
So he literally engineered an environment where his team could survive.
He absolutely did.
Right. So the Falcons finish their innings. They're walking off the pitch, having just watched their captain play like an absolute superhero.
Yeah, spirits had to be high.
But then, in the Lions locker room, the vibe has to be entirely different.
Oh, for sure.
Because how do you respond to a superhero? You don't try to outpunch him. You build a machine to dismantle him.
Right.
And that brings us to the Lions' phenomenal bowling attack.
Yeah, because the natural human reaction when a batsman is just destroying your bowling attack is absolute panic.
Total chaos, right?
Right. The field spreads, bowlers lose their line and length, the captain starts second-guessing every single decision, and the game just slips away in a blur.
But the elite Lions didn't crack.
They really didn't.
Because if I'm a bowler and Dheeraj Mishra is out there just launching balls into the upper deck of the Champions Arena, how does a bowler like Penoff S stay calm?
It's tough.
I mean, look at his specific numbers here. 2 overs, 1 wicket, and he gave up only 6 runs.
It's incredible discipline.
That is an economy rate of 3.0 in a T20 match where the opposing captain is literally hitting 11 sixes. Like, most bowlers would be sweating bullets. How do you not lose your nerve?
Well, you rely entirely on your tactical systems.
Yeah.
And your field placements.
Okay.
Abhinav S. and Shantanu Kumar, who, by the way, was also exceptional, he took 2 wickets for 26 runs in his 3 overs.
Yeah, fantastic numbers, too.
They didn't just bowl randomly, hoping Mishra would, eventually make a mistake. They bowled strictly to their fields.
Meaning they had a rigid plan.
Exactly. If they had fielders protecting the offside boundary, they bowled exclusively outside the off stump. They just refused to give Mishra the angles he wanted.
Wow.
It requires immense mental fortitude to trust a pre-game plan when the psychological pressure is at its absolute peak during the match.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Shantanu got the early breakthroughs by bowling Himanshu and getting Surya out later, simply by sticking rigidly to that process.
Which all culminates in the 20th over. The death over.
The defining moment.
Yeah, and for anyone listening who hasn't stood on a pitch, explain why the 20th over in a T20 match is such a terrifying prospect for a bowler.
Oh, it is brutal. By the 20th over, the batters have zero incentive to defend. None.
Right, they just swing at everything.
Exactly. They are swinging at absolutely everything with maximum force. And remember, Mishra is sitting on 84 runs at the start of that over.
So he is actively hunting for his century.
Right. He wants that milestone. So the bowler, standing at the top of his mark, knows that any slight miscalculation, like a ball dropping an inch too short or drifting a centimeter too wide, is going to just disappear into the stands.
It has to be arguably the loneliest place on a sports field.
Without a doubt.
And who takes the ball for the elite Lions?
Their captain.
Prabal Singh. He steps right into the fire.
He does. And he doesn't just step into the fire. He sends a profound signal to his entire team.
How do you mean?
By taking the ball, he is essentially saying, if we're going to fail right now, it falls on my shoulders, not yours.
Oh, I see.
Because he could have easily thrown the ball to a specialized death bowler, hidden himself at mid-off, and just washed his hands of the immediate responsibility.
True. But instead, he takes it himself.
Exactly.
But it doesn't actually start well for him because he gets hit for a massive 6 on the second ball by Mishra.
Right, which puts Mishra on 90.
Yeah, and that is the exact moment most leaders would heavily regret their decision.
Oh, and that is where part-time bowlers would completely crumble. But Singh recalibrates.
What does he do?
On the very next delivery, right at the 19.3 mark, he bowls a delivery that finally forces Mishra to mistime his shot.
Yes.
He gets him out, caught at long off by Vinay Chauhan.
Such a crucial catch under immense pressure.
Huge catch.
Because by taking that responsibility and ending the onslaught right then, Singh probably saved his team, 15 or 20 runs there at the death?
Easily. And those 15 runs are often the margin between a challenging chase and an impossible one.
Right. So the Falcons were restricted to 187.
Which is still a massive total.
It is. But now, when the elite Lions come out to chase, we see this beautiful contrast of this deep dive.
The shift in strategy.
Exactly. The Falcons relied on an individual genius. The Lions replied with this highly coordinated, multi-layered collective system.
Yeah, the machine.
Right. Earlier, I was thinking about this like a wrecking ball versus a demolition crew.
I like that.
You know, a wrecking ball relies on one massive swing of momentum. If it misses, or I don't know, if the chain breaks, you're in
Be
trouble.
done.
But a demolition crew is methodical. They plant charges at the foundation, they wire the support beams, and they bring the whole thing down safely and predictably.
Such a good analogy.
So how did the Lions plant those initial charges?
Well, they attacked the foundation from ball one. They didn't wait to build a foundation slowly. They just exploded out the gate. They scored 52 runs in just 4.1 overs.
Wow, that is fast.
Super fast. Vijay Rawat, who ultimately, and I think rightfully,
Yeah.
won player of the match.
Oh, absolutely deserved it.
Yeah, he anchored this blitz. He scored a beautiful 51 off 34 balls, hitting 7 fours and 1 6.
Incredible batting.
It was. But the thing is, he wasn't doing it alone in a vacuum. Varun Sachdeva was right there with him, contributing a blazing 31 off 22 balls.
So they were feeding off each other.
Exactly. They put up a 52-run partnership for the first wicket in just 25 balls.
Which is huge, because when you have an opening partnership firing with that level of synchronicity, what does it do to the rest of the dugout?
It sends a wave of absolute calm through the entire team.
Really? Just calm.
Yeah, because think about it. In a massive chase of 188, if you lose 2 quick wickets, the players waiting to bat start hyperventilating.
Oh, the panic sets in.
Right. They start rethinking their game plans, doubting their technique, all of it. But because Rawat and Sachdeva lead this incredibly stable, high-speed foundation,
Everyone relaxes.
everyone waiting in the pavilion knew exactly what their role was. The required run rate was always under control.
That calm is just so crucial, especially when, the unexpected happens.
Which it did.
Yeah, because Vijay Rawat eventually had to retire hurt.
Right.
And if you are sitting in the dugout watching your anchor, the guy who is currently winning you the game, literally limp off the field.
It's terrifying.
That usually triggers a sheer sense of existential dread.
In most teams, yes, absolutely. A key player retiring hurt in the middle of a massive run chase would just completely derail a team relying on a one-man show.
Like the Falcons.
Exactly like the Falcons. But there was zero panic from the elite Lions.
None at all.
None. The foundation built by the openers was so solid that the incoming batters didn't feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. Everyone knew their specific, manageable role.
Wow.
It is a textbook example of how sharing the load across multiple people fundamentally reduces the psychological pressure on any single individual.
Which brings us to the finishers.
Yes, the closers.
Because the top order set the table so perfectly, the middle order could just come out and play with absolute freedom.
They could swing away.
Right. They didn't have to rebuild, they just had to close the game out. So Hrishab Negi, the wicketkeeper, comes in and plays this blistering knock of 40 off just 24 balls.
Incredible.
That is a strike rate of 166, and then Akhil Agarwal finishes it with absolute fireworks. 19 not out off just 8 balls.
Yeah, Agarwal was operating at a 237.5 strike rate.
Just wild.
And they finished the game in just 15.4 overs. They won by 7 wickets with 26 balls to spare. It was honestly a clinic in efficiency.
It really was. But let's look at a hidden metric in this scorecard that massively accelerated that finish.
Ah, yes, the extras,
The Fierce Falcons bowled 32 extras.
which is a lot.
It's staggering.
Yeah.
The breakdown is 24 wides, 5 no balls, 2 leg bys, and 1 bye.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective for you listening, in a 20-over match, bowling 32 extras is essentially giving the opposing team more than 5 extra overs worth of free delivery.
It sounds terrible on paper, but if we view this through the lens of the broader match context, we can see this wasn't necessarily just lazy bowling.
Yeah.
No, it was likely an over-eagerness by the Falcons bowlers to take wickets and break those partnerships.
Wait, over-eagerness. You're being awfully generous there.
You think so?
I mean, in a high-stakes match, giving away 32 free runs and essentially 5 extra overs feels like a complete psychological collapse under the lights. Not just them, trying too hard. It sounds like they completely lost the plot.
I hear that. I do. But think about the physical and mental mechanics of defending a vulnerable total.
Okay.
The Falcons bowlers watched the Lions openers blast 52 runs in 4 overs.
True, they were getting hit hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they felt this immense suffocating pressure to break those partnerships immediately.
So they start forcing it.
Right. When a fast bowler tries too hard to bowl the absolute perfect, magic delivery, like trying to hit the absolute millimeter edge of the wide line to avoid being hit, or pushing the absolute limits of the popping crease for an extra yard of pace.
Ah, the no balls.
Yes. It invariably leads to wides and no balls. They were desperate to force a breakthrough.
So the pressure forces them out of their natural rhythm. They're trying to force a magical result on every single delivery instead of just trusting their mechanics and their process.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the physical exhaustion of those extras, too.
What do you mean?
Well, every wide and no ball means the bowler has to walk all the way back to their mark and bowl the delivery again.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Doing that 32 extra times drains a fielding team's legs. And more importantly, it drains their spirit. It breaks their collective rhythm completely.
And the brilliant thing about the elite Lions batters, particularly players like Negi and Agarwal at the end, is that they showed immense situational awareness.
They really did.
They didn't swing wildly at those wide deliveries. They didn't try to force shots that weren't there.
Nope.
They just calmly collected the free runs, let the extra deliveries pile up, and used that momentum to finish the game a full 26 balls early.
They capitalized beautifully on that extra breathing room. It just shows how the Lions applied pressure, not just with the bat, but with their mere presence at the crease.
Forcing the errors.
Exactly, forcing the Falcons to try and overperform, which ultimately made them implode.
It's amazing how a stat like 32 extras tells a whole psychological story about the pressure of defending a total.
It's all in the numbers.
We've looked at a single cricket match today, but we've really explored two completely different, highly effective styles of leadership and execution,
We have.
both of which gave the fans at the Champions Arena an absolutely unforgettable show.
Absolutely. I mean, on one side, you have Dheeraj Mishra's heroics.
Yeah.
A captain recognizing that the system was failing, putting the entire team on his back, and playing an innings of 90 off 36 balls that will just be the stuff of legend.
Truly legendary.
He is the visionary individual pulling the team upward through sheer force of will.
And on the other side, you have Prebble Singh's elite Lions. They put on an absolute clinic of collective responsibility.
The total masterclass.
No single player had to score 90 runs because everyone from Vijay Rawat to Varun Sachdeva to Hrishab Negi, they all pitched in and did their part.
Everyone played their role.
Even in the bowling, they shared the load, right down to the captain stepping up for the toughest over of the match. It was clinical, perfectly synchronized execution.
Yeah.
Both the wrecking ball and the demolition crew get the building down, but the approach is entirely different.
And neither approach is inherently wrong, you know? They're just different tools for different situations. A leader needs to know when to be the wrecking ball and when to act as the demolition crew manager.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a fascinating final thought for you to chew on today.
Oh, I like this.
We saw two distinct models of success in this scorecard. The visionary individual pulling the team upward by taking on all the risk versus the well-oiled machine sharing the load equally so no one person breaks under the pressure.
Right.
As you look at the teams you are a part of in your own life, whether that's at work, in your community, or even in your family dynamics, which model do you naturally lean toward?
That's a great question.
Are you waiting for a Dheeraj Mishra to save the day? Or are you actively building an elite Lions system? And more importantly, what could you achieve if you borrowed just a little bit from the other side? Thanks for joining us today on this deep dive. Keep looking at the numbers, because there is always a story hidden inside.